What's up, everybody? This is your girl Erica from the Classy Climb blog. I just got back from brunch, mimosas. Uh, I put my dress on and walked on over there. I don't care about this airport. When I get there, I'm gonna get there. Okay, we got the check and the pre-check now. We good. Now let's go ahead and do this, and I'm trying to do this in an hour. Definitely throw a one in the comments if you can, and put your city and state in there so I know you hear me, you see me, you feel me, you understand me. I'm in DC, and this ain't Obama's DC no. It ain't even Trump's DC. It's Joe Biden's sleepy DC. Now, I went to that place, and I mean, it was jumping. You know, half the black ladies were in workout gear. The other ladies were dressed nice. It's brunch time, in DC. It looked like what you think it looked like, okay? Now, here's the deal. Many people are like, Erica, you said we're going to be no housing crash. It really isn't. The crash is only happening in the blue states. But if you ever talk to somebody from California, Ohio, Oregon, Washington, Virginia, Vermont, Delaware, Connecticut, New Jersey, New York, oh, it's still bustling. It's gangbusters out here. It's wonderful out here. Now, listen, are people going to move around the state now that people are just fleeing the states? Yes. You can still make a ton of sales. You can be $1 million agent in California right now in some areas because people are trying to do what? Move around, trying to get out of the tiny apartments. They see people are fleeing California. They can't leave for whatever reason. Their mom, their grandma, they whoever, their kids, school, whatever the reason. People always have a reason. So yes, you can still be in California right now and feel like it's gangbusters and y'all making millions of dollars. That's not untrue. But overall, you're crashing. there's something to be said the fact that Meet Kevin, a YouTube person, is polling in your state of California higher than all the other Democratic candidates that's been out there for a long time. Right? Now, here's the reason why. People are late to the ball. We're here in DC. We just finished up the Classy Climb DC leg of the tour. It was great. It was wonderful. I've posted pictures. And again, people came because why? Winter's coming, right? But what's going to happen is you're going to have people wait to the last minute to be like, oh my God, what happened? Same thing in DC. All the black people didn't buy anything in DC because it was so dangerous. And all of a sudden they waited to the last possible moment when they said, maybe I should buy something. DC's changing. Too late. You're priced out. We had a very long conversation the other night about people being priced out of DC. It's the same story in New York. It's the same story everywhere else. You're being reactive instead of proactive. So is housing crashing in Austin? No. Is it crashing in the 16 boomtowns? Nashville, Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill, Charlotte, Atlanta, Miami? Now, where is it crashing in one of our boomtowns? Denver, Colorado, Colorado Springs, Fort Collins. But think about it. If you really look at the map, the peak of people moving to Colorado was 2016. It was all the rage 4 years ago to move to Colorado. I know people who lived in Austin who were moving to Colorado. And I'm like, why are you moving to Colorado? Oh man, it's the best. It's the best. It's not hot like Texas, right? I've met plenty of California people who call Colorado cold California, which I was like, okay, if you say so, right? If you look in some parts of Colorado and Utah, there are little cities where you won't live. Utah because the Mormons, and then the other ones in Colorado is because they make all the houses $1 million. If you've been in my tax lien course, I've shown you where or other classes you've seen where I show you the houses are $1 million. Who's buying that? Well, the average guy's making $40K a year. No, he's not. No, he's not. That's your average. That's your reality. People with money move to where other people with money are and cluster in those places. They cluster together. Okay? There's levels to this, and we can go on and on. But housing crash is about 30% right now in Denver. And it's because if you came out of California, and this is something people say all the time, my cousin moved to Texas, and in 3 years they bought a house. My so-and-so cousin moved to Georgia, and they bought a house. Your person living in an expensive place and moving to a less expensive place, they immediately recognize, I can get ahead here. I can buy a home here. I can create and grow roots here. So they stay. What's happening is Colorado, that stopped about 2016. When you got houses for $400,000, $500,000, they could have stayed in California for that. Right? Why move there? What are they going to get out of it? Now, again, another thing that's happening is water rights. The West was never meant for y'all to inhabit it so heavy. Why do you think settlers kept moving on? When they got to New Mexico, they kept going. When they got to Arizona, they kept going. When they got to Las Vegas, they kept going. They were going to California where the water was at the time. Okay, and even parts of California are drained of its water. The West Coast has had a drought for 6 years, and nobody's acknowledging that. Right? We always talk about the weather machines and all this other stuff. Yeah, we talk about that. You know, the government could open it up if they wanted to, right? Right. But it's been a drought on the West Coast for 6 years. We didn't take into consideration that Idaho, y'all been flooding Idaho since 2012 to 2020. So the houses have tripled. So now not as many people are going to Idaho, right? Because really the ideal in the process is if I'm going to sell my home in California, I'm going to go get somewhere where I can get a home. Or if you're a young couple starting out and you both work and you don't have careers, let's just go there. If you're making under $50,000 a year, it's usually not a career. It's a job. Okay, let's just go there. We can never be honest with people in America for whatever reason. School teachers make $60K a year, y'all. Come on now. So if you're making under that, you're making less than a school teacher, which again, that depends on the county, the city, the state, the property taxes. I know. But in general, you have jobs. You don't have careers. So if you're a young couple, you're all 22, 23, 24, you just got married, you want to leave California because, you know, yes, California is beautiful. It's fun. Avocado toast, but you can't afford anything. Y'all just be working yourselves to death. You move to Idaho and buy a house, and now you stunting for the gram. You got a backyard. You got a dog. You know, you got a different type of life than your friends in California. Right? So yes, Las Vegas running out of water. Denver running out of water. They're not giving builders permits because you've overbuilt for the area. If you go to some part, if you go to Breckenridge, I went to Airbnb and we had to drive up a hill in a Jeep. And I mean, they carved out a corner in a rock to put the house on that thing. And at first I was like, this is so beautiful. And then I thought, this is kind of dangerous. They probably shouldn't put that many of these up here. Now, again, I'm not a builder. I'm not an architect. I'm just saying from what I see. Now, a lot of people, 31% of sellers are saying they're distressed. Let's be very clear. There are some people in houses who are house poor. We already knew that. But the average person who had a house and this economy was going on and the pandemic was going on, they weren't running around talking about, look at all this appreciation I got. My house doubled in value, yo. Yeah. No, they were going out and getting cash out refi. That's why the Wells Fargo news hit so hard, because the next market they were thinking is, oh my God, they're going to stop cash out refis. Right? That's why I keep telling you, people who have a home, they're getting that credit nice. So they can do what? Cash out refi. Now you're going to say, well, Erica, their houses are over market. They're overvalued. They're going to be underwater. Listen to me. Once you're in your house, let's really talk about it. Once you in your house and you done got that extra cash out of that cash out refi. Now, if you're smart, I'm not talking about if you're just paying credit card debt and doing stupid stuff. I'm talking about somebody who cash out refi and buy other rentals or buy other assets or put it in the stock market, whatever. Those folks are straight. They're not leaving that house. They're going to stay there. They're going to stay there, not walk away from that mortgage. They saw how 2008 went, and they know they may never get another house like that again. That's why you have some of this pressure, right? This like, oh, people are really trying to get these houses because they saw what happened in 2008. Right? They just did. And so what you have to understand about this economy is there are winners and there are losers. And that's always been the case. There's a book called Nudge, and you guys can go check it out in your own free time. And there's 289 people here. Can y'all at least hit the like button? Can you at least give me a 1 if you like what I'm talking about? Let me know. If not, we can cut it early. So interest rates are super low. And people are like, oh, this is, the average guy can't start a family. He can't have a wife. He can't do all this stuff. And I go, but it was never for the average guy to have a big, large family. Even now, the past 10 years, the data is showing us that the people with the largest families, 4 to 6 kids, they fit in 4 categories, and prepare to be a little offended. One, it's highly religious. Who falls under that category? That's the Mormons, that's the Catholics, and that is the Muslim faith in our United States. Okay. Another category is the extremely wealthy. In New York, in Miami, in parts of the country, they're extremely wealthy, are having multiple children. Okay, there is an Instagram page, and if I could find it, and I would put it in here. The lady has 11 kids. Let me say that again. The lady has, her and her husband have 11 kids, and he's a black man and she's a white woman. And she posted, "If you're not ashamed of having a large family, share it." She had over 1,000 families. That's just people following her channel. 1,000 families posted their families. 6, 8, 7 kids, 5, 6, 7 kids. And they all had the same thing in common. A lot of the moms stayed home and the husband had a high paying job. A lot of the moms are talking about how people judge them for having so many kids, how selfish of you for having all those kids. You got to think about that. China's right now trying to reverse the destruction of their people by trying to convince people you should only have one child. There are 30 million women short by death, by abortion, by horrible acts. And now they have all these empty apartments and empty cities and empty houses because you need families to make countries run. Okay? So why is the housing market in problems? It's hard to market it to single men and single women. Point blank, period. If you start getting a house over 350, 550, 650, 750, a single man or single woman is going to just continue to rent. They're going to continue to rent somewhere. Okay? I don't know why y'all so worried about people giving this a thumbs down. Bump them. Who cares? YouTube counts it as engagement. See, this is the problem. Y'all want to be liked. I don't care about being liked. I like me. You liking me is just extra. Okay? So again, most places are running out of water because they're not allotting it properly. So yes, the West Coast's been in a Detroit. That mimosa's getting me. It's been in a drought for 6 years. But then you also got to take in the fact that we have some really heavy storms hit Idaho, hit parts of the Midwest. And that stuff is going to come to pass. The food shortages is going to come to pass. You also had a 5% culling of chicken with Smithfield plants in multiple states, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida. So when people talk to me about housing, I go, I'd much rather be in a house in this market because owners were winners. People who are renting, everybody's like, oh, renters, they got off. Yeah, they didn't have to pay no rent. Honey, that train is coming to kick you in your butt. You're going to have millions of people with bad, messed up credit for the next 5 years, and they will never own anything. Never. Why? Because they tried to play the, I'm not going to pay my apartment bill because the government told me I didn't have to pay my apartment bill. I'm good. You knew this is going to have consequences. So just like I told you with the PPP, with this apartment moratorium thing, this rent moratorium, they are getting the right people who fell for the okie doke. They won't buy a house. They will not be able to buy a house because their credit's going to have all this stuff on it. And you know what I'm saying is true. You guys know what I'm saying is true. What's up, everybody? What's up, Darnell? Hello. Listen, Santa Cruz, I'm telling you, listen, I was at a place today. DC is lovely today. I had some brunch. I went by myself because I said, oh, man, I'm just going to go. People, you ever hear something happens and then all of a sudden when Bitcoin, people who are studying the market, then all of a sudden Bitcoin craziness came out. When the Uber driver's talking about Bitcoin and the postman and the 80-year-old neighbor's talking about Bitcoin, it's already jumped the shark. It was the same with the AMC and GameStop. By the time you heard about it on news and you hadn't heard about it on forums, it's too late. It's on the other side of it, right? It's the suckers who are buying at that point. It's the same thing with housing right now. When people say, well, should I buy a house this year? I go, you know what? No. I don't even give them a yes. You know why I do that? Because a lot of times if you've just got alerted to housing being expensive, or you just now honed in on, I might want a house, you're a little bit behind the curve, just a little bit. Okay? And there's nothing wrong with that. We know that. That's part of why we're putting out the coaching course, because there's a lot of people who need to coach people in their city, in their area, in their marketplace, so that they aren't left behind. But overall, housing in the boom towns, it will stay high for a while. It will stay high. Nashville will stay high. Raleigh will stay high. Raleigh's getting an Apple built there and a soccer stadium in the Southeast. So when you talk to people and they're like, well, you used to be able to buy this house for $80K. Honey, used to's don't count. That's like somebody talking about New York in the heyday. Baby, well, why didn't y'all buy nothing? Well, it was dangerous, Erica. But you still stayed there. That's the silly stuff. Well, it was like the Wild West and gun shootouts, but you was living there. You was living in the hood shootouts. Right? So again, it's this mentality that somebody else can fix it, not me. Well, I'm not going to buy here because I'm not going to. It's very short term thinking. It doesn't work. Right? I know Meet Kevin's about to show y'all something. They really don't. That's why we bought Rule in 2018. I'm telling you, buy and hold. And so here's the thing: the southeast of DC. I don't know. I don't know what areas are rough, but this guy was telling us the other day at the event. Even in the southeast, he drove by the other day and he was shocked at where it's changing. Memphis, yeah, Memphis is. So here's the thing about Memphis. Memphis will always be a transient location. I'm being nice. Memphis has always had the influx of people come from Mississippi, stop in Memphis for a bit, and then go into Chicago. Back in the day, now it's the reverse. They come down from Chicago, they go to Memphis, and then they go down back to Mississippi, where their people are originally from anyway. Or they go left or right, maybe to Texas, maybe in some other parts. But overall, Memphis has never. I mean, you will always see. There's several families who own hundreds of houses in Memphis, and they always have the same low income bad tenant housing in Memphis. It ain't ever changed. It's been like that for 50 years. So, you can have Memphis. Yeah. Hello. Hello. How you doing? Well, that's just it, BK from Rockies. Everybody's like, well, these houses should only be 250. You didn't buy them when they was 250. You didn't buy them when they was 125. What makes us think that you're going to buy them when they go back to that? This is about property taxes too. You have to understand, when you have a baby boom population like just going away or moving, because everybody was moving to Florida at one point, and there's still lots of parts of Florida. There's parts in northern Florida. There's parts in St. Pete, Tampa. An older couple can move into a neighborhood of 55 and plus, be on the water, drive their golf cart around and chill and do old people things, right? Volunteer, play bingo, ride the golf cart, do golf, right? I think a lot of people have convinced themselves that if they wait a while, it'll just get better. And again, hope is not a plan. If that makes sense. The houses in Dallas are going up too. It's because the company. No, the houses in Dallas were going to go up either way. It's not just California, folks. It's Ohio. It's New York. It's Connecticut. It's just a marketplace. The population of the DFW is bigger than about 31 states just in DFW. And I still know people who move further out and further out and buy a house for 180 something, way past Weatherford, Texas or something. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter how cheap the houses are. If the people aren't thinking, I should buy a house, it ain't gonna happen. It just ain't gonna happen. Missouri, I mean, I didn't know they were going up there, but if they going up there, God bless them. Because our cousins live on one part. Missouri, what was funny about Missouri is one side was Missouri, other side was Missouri. It was just the way they pronounce it, because one side thought they was in the part of the Confederacy, the other part they was Union. There's all kind of movies about how Missouri was basically crazy. Y'all crazy up there. So, Missouri may be holding on strong. And the real thing about the housing market that I want you guys to understand is, why did Colorado slow down? Why did Las Vegas is still booming, but why did these areas slow down? First thing people say out their mouth, jobs, Erica, jobs. But that's just it. A guy or girl who just wants a basic, I'm gonna work at 7-Eleven if I got to, I just need cheaper rent. The economy was never built for those folks long term. It never was. Our economy has always been built for families, people with higher incomes, and now it's just on steroids. Right? Like, you can live near here, but not in the city. That just is what it is. Oh yeah, yes, she birthed all of them, honey. Get your Nick Cannon on. Cash out refinance. Cash out refinance. It's basically where people are getting the equity out of their home. Yes. I'm sorry, I didn't even finish the groups. I'm sorry, the mimosa hit me. But long story short, it was the religious, it's the wealthy, it's the oopsie baby crowd, and the fourth are people who are doing adoptions. So, um, adoption agencies are more willing to let you adopt more if you already got three. They know you have the track record. Yep, there you go. And that's the thing when people see here, somebody can live in Florida their whole life, and Diamond Dave said something that's really spot on. You live near the beach. You have nice weather. The same thing in California, but different. You have nice weather, and you just kind of you get on cruise control. There's no incentive. There's no push. The prices are low. You can get some gas. You can always go to the beach every Saturday. There's no push in that society. So that's why you see guys and girls in California and Florida who work in retail and restaurants their whole life. They have never thought about, maybe I should get a career. Maybe I should change jobs. And all the time people say, well, Erica, those jobs aren't here, but I can literally go on Indeed and see them. So you lying? They don't need nurses? Why are they paying $80,000 for 13 weeks to travel nurses if Jacksonville, Florida doesn't need nurses? Every time y'all give me these arguments, I'm like, they are paying people thousands of dollars to come to your city to help because there's not enough skilled labor. You got all these people going to college for crap stuff that you don't need. If it ain't a nurse, if it ain't a doctor, if it ain't a STEM related field, if you're not from a family of privilege that can pay, I mean, a lot of times folks are going just to go have a party. Again, low pricing, elderly market, right? It's not even just hedge funds, it's foreign buyers. A lot of times we keep saying hedge fund, but what we don't realize is in Vancouver, in parts of Toronto, in parts, well, more like just Vancouver, Toronto's less, but it's foreign buyers. Again, I'm telling you, when I talk about people that wait till the last minute to wake up and buy something, when America's for sale, doesn't realize the whole world knows that. And they're looking for a safe haven. So yes, people in India, I'm telling you this now, and y'all can quote me on it. It's August, what, 29th, 2021. In 2 years, you're going to have a flood of people come from India. When they finally let them restrictions up that they can travel, they out that mug. They out of there. They are out of there. They're leaving. They're coming here, flooding it. It's not just the army. It's China has so many people that they don't even have work for enough people. They send construction workers to China, and those men get ladies pregnant, and they stay and marry those girls. They just do. Well, they've already aggregate. Listen, they cannot. They showed some farms in California, almond trees. California cut off the dude's water. He had rows and rows of dead trees, and he was just like, they've only allotted me water for 10 of my acres, not 13. And you can't run a country like that. You cannot, baby. It will not work. Sherry, at first they were discouraging it and saying they would get in trouble and get fired from their job, but then they realized you can't drop off 100,000 Chinese men who don't have wives back home. They don't have no family. They're some of them are old. I'm just going to say the word. They're 40s, never got married, no children, and put them in a country where there's women all over the place. What you think was going to happen? China's just making sure they don't come back to China though. It is. It's 566 people here. Make sure y'all hit the like button. If you like the commentary, if you like what I'm bringing you about what's going on in the housing market, let me know, right? Because at the end of the day, people are waking up late. It's like when you shop for a car, you're like, I want a red Jeep. Yeah, I'm gonna go look at red Jeeps for a while. Well, then all of a sudden you see red Jeeps everywhere. It's because you're awake. See, what the pandemic did is y'all are stuck in houses and apartments that you hate. Now the kids are home all day long, making noise all day long, running up and down the floors of your apartment above you all day long, all night long. They don't got no bedtime structure. And you like, oh, I got to get out of here. I need a house. And you just walk over and like, oh, houses are expensive. That's how a lot of people are. I mean, I can believe you. You always have you always have Virginia. You always have Virginia. That's what I'm saying. All these gurus told you to rent. Grant Cardone, who owns apartments. Again, whenever you take advice, listen to where that person's at in life. I've always told you on this channel, y'all be like, man, Erica, why you gotta say it like that? I ain't got to lie to you. Honey, you can come back years later and see the videos I put out. Same stuff, telling the truth. The people who owned houses were able to cash out, refi, buy or more houses. I've seen couples who not very smart, and they even cashed out, refi, and bought other rentals. The market was for people who owned. It's the ownership society. You don't own anything, it's gonna be rough. Yeah, DC is this is not Obama's DC. I made a video. I made a recording waiting on Peter to get it fixed, but this ain't Obama's DC. And this ain't Trump DC. This is a very quiet DC. Very quiet. The airport dead. It was deader than a doorknob at the airport. At one of the busiest airports in America. DCA, it was dead. I'm talking about dead. And so, and it's a football weekend. Like football was yesterday, Saturday. Ravens versus the Washington Redskins. I don't care what they call themselves. I'm calling them Redskins. And I'm a Native American person, so I don't care. It's just is what it is, right? Yeah, nobody wants to buy when the market's low. And this is the thing. This has always been the rule. Buy low, sell high. And for whatever reason, it's the fear of missing out, right? It's like when people were going to Myrtle Beach paying $400 a night for Myrtle Beach. You're like, Myrtle Beach? There's 13 other beaches in South Carolina and North Carolina. Why are you at Myrtle Beach paying $400? Did make no sense to me. None. So people wait till it's popular in the news, or when the pandemic happened, they at the house stuck with all these kids, and the kids are driving them crazy. They husband in the bathroom, locked in the bathroom for hours, looking on his phone, just trying to have a place of escape. And now they're like, we should buy a house. That just is the way people are. They waited. Denver, Colorado. I already told you, Denver, Colorado is 30% housing crash. Price rejection across Denver, Colorado is steep. There's not going to be a lot more new construction in Colorado. In Boulder, Boulder lost, I think, 20% of its population. And that's really because, you have colleges in these areas. And so when I say 20% of population, I really mean several thousands of students didn't return, or several thousands of students didn't come back, several thousand people that do tourism in the summer, right? Because you got to think about it. Colorado and Utah have things in common. A lot of college students and transient young people come to work at the ski resorts, the hotels, the industry, the outside, anything you think of, train stations, parks, national parks. These are what people do in that Colorado and Utah kind of area. And Utah, one of the cities in Utah, lost a lot of young folks. Well, again, pandemic, school, missions, the Mormons, right? It's a very much a flux. So yeah. Listen, get you as much money as you can for your down payment. Focus on the area you want to buy in. Yes, houses have gone up, but at the end of the day, like the future of Detroit and Cleveland, and not so much Cleveland, but yes, future of Detroit, Cleveland, parts of Pennsylvania, parts of the Midwest Rust Belt kind of stuff areas, they're just going to be spending the next 30 years restructuring their cities. Right? When the pandemic hit, before the pandemic hit, you try to call wholesalers in Detroit and they would talk to you nasty. Detroit nasty, rude, talk to you nasty. Now the pandemic happened, they like, hey big head, how you doing? Would you like to buy this house for 18 grand? No, I would not. You sure? No, I'm good. You didn't want to talk to me last year. Now you're real nice. Hey man, I'll do construction on this house for this. Because literally, in Cleveland, they were charging us $140 to cut the backyard grass. I said, "Are you kidding me? It ain't like it's an acre of land. It literally, I could pay it to a crackhead $20 go cut that grass. $40. Shoot, we about to charge our tenant this money because this is ridiculous." But you have cities who've built in the tenant to think the landlord's going to cut their grass and shovel their snow and take care of them, and they gonna pay $750 rent. Man, you better get the bunk out of here. That's why Cleveland, Detroit still look like they look. If you're expecting red carpet service for $750, you can have it, baby. You can have it. No, no, thanks. I'll just do all my investments in the Southeast from now on out. No, thank you. Thank you, Ohio. Yeah, it's a little late to get in. North side of Charlotte, North Carolina. Charlotte. Listen, I love y'all, but North Carolina been booming for 10 years now. I would say even say 15. When I was a kid in North Carolina, it was you always have a New York people, New Jersey, Baltimore, Maryland folks move in, and your teacher be looking at them like they Tim's on and they Dipset outfits. Like, what is y'all wearing, right? Why you got Tim's on in the summer, baby? Ain't your feet hot, right? So um this isn't a new thing. Migration of people has never been new. The fact that people move and then don't buy nothing, don't create new roots and don't start a new job career, that's what's hitting them now. Right? They just came down for cheap rent and didn't think about the job part. That's why when I the other day O'Shea posted a video, O'Shea Duke Jackson, we did a thing about economic winter for men. What jobs are out there for black men in this economic winter, because everybody's under the assumption that women will be just suffering and homeless women will be out in the street naked somewhere. And let me tell you something, these women will get 4 women deep in a house. These women, I don't know if you being careful here, but when you meet women sometime and they 50, they live with their mama. Oh yeah, I'm just checking in on my mama. I'll be like, oh, okay, your mama live near you. Oh no, I take care of my mom. So you live with your mom. Just you live with your mom. It's not uncommon, right? It's a Spencer life, whatever you want to call it. Or it's always one daughter who was divorced or not married. She took care of the mom. That's just is what it is. So I'm not as worried about women, because I think women got a good ideal last year that if I don't do something on paper or on the internet or from an office that I can do online remote work, it's gonna be rough. But I think men are kind of like, hey, I'm just gonna work with my hands, or I'm gonna just switch jobs, and like, "Eh, no, Brown. If you actually go research Memphis and Mississippi and Chicago, over 80% of the people who have inherited land in Mississippi are actually living in Chicago at this current moment. The state of Mississippi has worked for about 10 years to try to recruit people to come back from Chicago who are landowners to Mississippi, so that these patches of area of land that are just sitting there rotting into the ground in Mississippi can be redeveloped. If you go look at some of the HGTV shows on some of these smaller country towns, they got a lot of couples that are, they've got one called the Barn Builders, and it's where these guys take apart these 100-year-old wooden houses and use the beams because they're such good quality to make new stuff, right? Or the one lady who lives they live I don't know, either Oklahoma or some small town in the south, and they rebuild old houses. It's very popular. So yes, go Google, go sit down with your phone. You have a whole computer in your hand. Google that information. Yep. There you go. That needs work. So then you're talking about somebody who not only can afford to have maybe 4 months of construction time on the house and still be paying rent somewhere in the DC area. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, it's gonna cost. It is. Thank you, Tay Tay, 1990. I'm not even gonna mess with you, Clutch. Terrence, I just don't think that's. I mean, everybody has to do their own individual choice. I'm not going to be some financial guru tell you, yeah, you should. But the Dave Ramsey phenomenon about being debt free in a society run on debt, be debt free so that you're not in ridiculous debt. But you should have a ideal to pay off debt without having to sell your home. You should be able to finance that from your job. You should be able to cut expenses for 6 months and pay off debt. Right? This is true. I agree. Huntsville market. I mean, at the end of the day, who's moving to Huntsville, Alabama? Nobody wants to go. Listen, between Birmingham and Huntsville, there's like this no man land where the racists live. And I know because we experienced it while I was down there. And that's not just an anecdotal thing, but that's just like the white people telling you, like, don't stop in between here. Go straight to Huntsville. Them people in between there are a little bit cray, right? Huntsville has recruited some of the highest and best and brightest scientists, engineers, people in the STEM fields. Right now, one of the past guests on the show, Lane Kowalski's building like a 300 unit apartment complex in Huntsville, Alabama. There's going to be lots of future for Huntsville because people are coming back to the South, but they want to seem like they're going to a cool city in the South. So there's no problem there. Yes, it's been expensive. 2016 was the peak of it. Don't come to St. Pete. We like our freedom. They coming, baby. DMV has shot up. Houses are being sold for 700,000. Why you say it like that? And up in Fairfax, VA, $1 million homes. Yeah, so what I've seen is it's hard to get cash flow in those markets. So if you're going to buy a home in this area, it's because you want to live here, right? And then take your other money and invest. That's always going to be my suggestion to everybody. It's like, you should have enough money in your budget to invest with what you want to invest in. It depends on what you want out of life, honestly. She said, thank you for the $5 super chat. She said, I'm 50 and I'm single. Is Houston okay? Houston's okay. Anywhere in the Southeast is going to be okay. I mean, depending on what you're looking for, there's always going to be, folks to mingle with, folks to do life with, folks to go events to do. And I've always said on here, if you move to a new city, any city you move to, you need to spend the next 2 years fully invested, fully going to events, volunteering, church, activities, meetup.com, eventbrite.com. That's pretty much you need. People are just moving down from New York. That's what I think of it. Whoo, good luck, Jude Joint. That's crazy. Again, Miss Pris, were they always that price? You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of times people tell me, well, the prices are really high. I'm like, they weren't like that 5 years ago. Why didn't you buy a house 5 years ago? There is no such thing as North Charlotte, South Carolina. It's only Charlotte, North Carolina. South Carolina is South Carolina. Yeah, I have some friends who invest in St. Louis just because the housing's so cheap. Diaz, it's not going to collapse. I hate. Name me, and this is something somebody said the other day that cracked me up. Name me one time rent was lowered in America. In the city you live in, name me one time rent was lowered since you've been alive. Name me 1 year. Name me a month. Show me on paper where rent has gone down. It's not. You have to literally go back almost to the Great Depression. Oh, we're going to crash, everybody. We're going to crash. No. See, the crash that you guys are thinking of, you're thinking of like Detroit level crash. That's not happening across the whole United States. It's just not. I'm here to tell you it's not happening. Mark my words. The people are saying, well, Erica, you said about Denver. They're going to have a price reduction, but not a crash. 30%. I mean, listen. Denver hit its peak in 2016. They can't push the houses past the 480 and $500,000 mark. They can't. The medium house right now in Denver, Boulder, Fort Collins is like 400,000, 489,000. And another area is like Denver's like 500,000. That's it. That's the max. You don't have a bunch of Californians coming there anymore. The population is gone this way. And that's migration into it. Now, why do I say that? The people that have always lived there, people that's always lived in Denver or lived in Colorado and they ain't bought no house, they ain't buying one. The people that's always lived in Texas and they 5 generations deep in Texas, they never bought a house, they're not buying one. We've seen this play out in other places. People who are from that state and kept seeing the houses go up in price and kept seeing the new apartments coming in and sat there and did not buy anything, they will not be buying a house. They just won't. Because see, a lot of people say, well, when they have kids, they're going to want to buy a house. No, they waited too late. They just keep playing that game. Now you can say, Erica, what's the solution? What's the solution? The solution is there aren't any. No, the solution is if you're in a marketplace, you have 2 choices. You can start a business. 2, you can get the most high paying job you can. And 3, you can buy or you can invest in that area, right? House hacking, it doesn't have to be people living with you. It could be a duplex. It could be a fourplex. If you want to go further out, buy land and build the duplex brand new. There's a lot of choices in this marketplace. What happened is a lot of you are coming to the market late. You've been lollygagging for 20 years and then like, I want to buy a house at 52. What's going on with the economy? Well, honey, that's been like this. There you go. My sister bought a condo outside of Nashville for $110,000 2014. Now those condos are being sold for. Listen, when I was looking to work with people in Nashville and Chattanooga, Tennessee, they were talking about 130,000. And I was like, that's too high. I kid you not. I was like, that's too high. I was out here in Texas and I was trying to make it make sense, right? And then my friend said, if you don't buy this now, you ain't gonna be able to buy in Nashville, girl. You ain't gonna be able to buy in Chattanooga. This is cheap as it's gonna be. And I was like, girl, please. For 4 years later, I'm like, you right. You right, boo-boo. You right. I messed that one up. I could have had a nice little situation in Nashville, but I just, at the time I was like, how can I afford to siphon from my business here in Texas and put that money in the down payment and make sure it's rented out and kind of hold the market, ride the market. So she's very right. Yeah, Xantos Clutch, they're throwing a lot of money into schools here, but I don't know. There's 726 people here. All I've asked for you to do, you don't have to super chat, you don't have to cash at me. That'd be nice. But I would love if you would hit that like button and drop a 1 in the comments if you're enjoying that video. Let me know. Because I'm getting ready to go to the airport and I ain't playing with y'all. Dark Man Jeff, for sure. I mean, if you want to go back to some of them small counties in South Carolina, you can get some stuff for $50K. It's going to need some work, though. Columbia, anything Columbia, South Carolina, cheap, gonna need work. CJ, if you follow me on Instagram, I'll share her one of her slides or something, but I'm not gonna look on my phone right now. That's right. Listen, dishwashers, everybody, people they want to pay $15 an hour to, they have to be people who are young or in a transient position. High school, teenagers, stuff like that, but they got to be out there by 9 o'clock for work laws. Yep. The people who said, my children need a home and I'm willing to move to satisfy that, or people who lived in Chicago and like, my children will not grow up in this violence. I'm leaving to where I can afford a home. Those are people who went to Atlanta years ago. Those are people who went south years ago. Those people went out and got out of Dodge and bought something. If you're just waking up today and going, Erica, boy, houses are expensive. You just woke up. That's what that means. And this is the thing. All these men on the internet get mad like, all these girls just traveling and spending money on vacations. And every time I actually go look at somebody's Instagram, in the key tag, she says travel nurse. They're paying travel nurses $82,000 for 13 weeks worth of work in Jacksonville, Florida right now. I shared it out here on the post because a lot of people always say, why do all these black women want to be nurses? Because nurses get paid. That's why. And if you work for 13 weeks and let's say you take 2-3 weeks off, because the recruiters are blowing your phone up. Hey, come on, man. Come on, man. Come on out here to this new location. Come to this new hospital. Well, I'm going to take 2-3 weeks off. What you going to do? You're going to be out stuck on the ground. We are going to be short 150,000 diesel mechanics in about 10 years. And so that's why when people ask me, why am I easing out of trucking? Why am I getting away from it unless you just own the parking lot? It's because we're going to be 150,000 short of diesel mechanics. We're going to be 450,000 short of some other stuff, but that's another show I'm saving up for y'all. But diesel mechanics make money. Honey, Jacksonville, Florida needed something. It needed something. It needed some kind of it needed something. Jacksonville, Florida was suffering economically, and then you had the Hispanic community coming in, and the Jacksonville, Florida is like the number 2 or number 1 city in the whole United States for Hispanic immigrant house ownership. So they have the highest home ownership in that city. Listen, you know that I'm messing with you. Look, my cousins live up there. I just call it crazy. They still crazy. I don't care what you say. We go up there and visit them. We be like, why we out here? There you go. Data science job offering 200,000. Again, the guys and girls who say, you know what, I'm going to go get a few certifications, I'm going to study, are going to win. This is why I'm pushing Tech Tuesday so hard, because I truly see in 2 years we are going to have a flood of at least 4 to 10, I'm going to say 4 to 6 million Indian immigrants coming to America because of how harshly they were locked down because of this pandemic. They are leaving that country as soon as they can leave it. They're going to buy houses out here. They're going to start businesses. They're going to be gone. They're going to be gone. Listen, we had 1 million people caught at the border from January to April of this year. We ain't even got the new updated numbers because they're smashing them down. They don't want to tell you what the new numbers are. Literally, Border Patrol caught 1 million people. When Trump was in office the previous year, they only caught like 20,000 people. Now they've caught 1 million people, y'all. People are getting into America. They're going to come here. They're going to work together as their family for 2-3 years. They're going to save up all the money they can, put 4 folks in a house and buy that house. While you and your cousin and them over there arguing about these houses cost too much now. It just is what it is. Sunny Anderson's a nice looking lady. I'll take that. See, here we go. We got somebody ready for the block party. And you're blocked off the channel. Oh, you got all this advice. Yeah, I do. I'm doing better than you. We not watching you, boo-boo. They watching me. So you've been blocked. Block ministry. Credit Solutions. I think it's IAD. I don't know. You've been blocked, baby. I hit you with the block button. That's right. I am in Austin now, and if you don't have money, don't consider coming. I'm heavily invested in St. Louis. KC, I now have one of Black Heights. Email me at admin@classyclimbers.com. Tell my VA that you want to come on the show. That Erica said for you to email me. Put your internet name, Black Heights. I'm telling you, like people don't want to hear it. I'm sitting here telling you about boot camps. I'm telling you about opportunities, and people are like, whatever. I've already told you my thoughts on Baltimore. I try to bring nothing but statistics in this mug. Yep, Afghans coming well. Jacksonville, Florida suffered for a time in the 70s and 80s. It just suffered economically. I can't remember what the trigger was, but I was following 2 big economists out of Jacksonville, Florida for a long time. And then they were saying how it's trying to come back by bringing an influx of other people. I left it mechanics. I make more driving. I left mechanicking. Okay, thank you, Granger, for the $2 cash app. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I don't know. I think if you actually go look up Minnesota, and Minnesota sucks, one, but two, South Dakota and North Dakota, a lot of people left out of Minnesota and Minneapolis to there. Aaron Clary even has a YouTuber who has a channel. He moved down there. First thing he said is, "There's a ton of us already down here," and that's why he chose there. He was like, "Yeah, a ton of people have been moving here." Same thing, Wyoming. Yes, because Austin's not big enough for it to really. Austin is I call it a big city town, and people get mad at me, but Austin is got water at every edge. You can't, you can't expand. You can only go up, and then if you don't want to go up, you have to go out away from Austin. Austin has a railroad track in the middle of the road, so they can't even expand the highway. It's very like, as much as I love Austin, I think it's amazing. I don't plan on leaving. The way they built it, they never thought, oh, this is the capital city, and one day the capital city will be big and it'll be huge. It'll have a ton of people. We've got a whole freaking waterfront through the thing. We have to figure out how to build around this water. They never did. They never did. Frank White, the hermit strategy doesn't work anymore. It does not work. I know there's all these men on the internet trying to sell you this glorious homeless life, van life, living a hermit, renting tiny 500 square foot apartments, and you're going to be great. Like, no, that's not going to work. That strategy doesn't work. That strategy doesn't work. Go look at some of these older YouTubers who started promoting that strategy. They're either homeless or changed 180 degrees on that policy. I want to buy up Little Haiti area, one of the few areas in Miami that's above sea level. And trust me, they're coming for it. They are coming for it. No. I know money is in St. Louis. It's cheap in St. Louis, because when you drive into the airport for like 12 miles, it looks like a death zone of destruction and raggedy houses. But yeah. You're a Colorado Nago, feel priced out? I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. I'm sorry, you guys. I don't want to be ignoring your super chats. I'm trying to finish out. Since people are moving down south, you think the Northeast cities are going to restructure their tax bracket? No. It's going to be like New Jersey. New Jersey had a millionaire in New Jersey that said, if you change this tax bill, I'm going to take my companies, I'm going to take everything I have and leave this state. And they're like, oh, whatever. And then he picks up his whole family and everybody in his business and leaves. They literally had to go call an emergency session to restructure this whole entire state's taxes because one wealthy man left. So what you're having in New York and what you're having in California is like, people are voting with their feet. And instead of California go, well, maybe we should chill back on some of these programs and these services, they literally have hired hundreds, like I think 10,000 investigators to make sure that you are out of California. If you're in California more than 180 days and they know you're here, they're going to charge your taxes. Instead of saying maybe we should peel some of these taxes back, they are hiring investigators to monitor if you live in the state more than 180 days. That's a problem, y'all. That state is broken. That state is broken, and you will never get men and women to vote themselves less free crap. That is California's problem. They'll never be able to convince people, hey, y'all, we broke. Can we take a budget cut? Can we tighten up our belt, California? No, they'll never do it. Arnold Schwarzenegger, when he was in there talking, he was right. You'll never get. Arnold Schwarzenegger said, if we vote this way, the next 10 years are going to be hell. Nobody listened to him. They knew he was right. Exactly. That's a key word. So to me, when I look at Mississippi, I look at some of these southern states, when they really fight to change what their city is known for, to market what that state is known for, they will suffer. And it's a stubborn southern thing, but they will suffer. And that's why Huntsville, Alabama, you're right, Central Coast, they played this Northern Virginia. We're look at us, we're progressing. We're the fancy Alabama. We're not Birmingham, Alabama. We're not, that other part of Alabama. We're nice Alabama. We're progressive Alabama. We're new Alabama. Go check out Vestavia Hills. Go check out Hoover, Alabama. When we were in Atlanta for the Classic Climb Tour, the football game was being played with Hoover, Alabama versus North Gwinnett. All these people were driving in to go watch this football game in the stadium, NFL stadium. That's because Hoover, Alabama has all these companies down there. And the average income is like 60, 70K. And when I was doing a show, one of the guys came in my chat cussing at me. I live in Hoover, Alabama, and I only make $11 an hour. I said, so where do you work? I work at a call center. Why are you working at a call center when the average man in Alabama, Hoover, is working in a factory? And it's not like dirty factory work. It's like almost technology related factory work, higher level thinking factory work. That's your choice, brother. Leave that call center. Again, you get into these arguments where, what about the average person? The average person has to make better decisions. That's just it. Or don't complain. That's my biggest thing. I don't mind if you say, Erica, I don't want a stressful job. I don't want a stressful life. I'm going to just sit here and be comfortable. Be quiet. Nobody cares. And you may think that's rude and that's ugly, but that's just the truth. Yep. A lot of good talent down there. I told a family member, thank you for the super chat, Diamond Dave. I told a family member about educating us on families owning whole neighborhoods. We got to look at areas. I'm telling you, listen, here in Texas, what I've learned is they'll buy 5 acres, but they don't want to just be by themselves in the middle of nowhere. So then they'll subdivide 4 of the other acres, work with a builder to build the same exact houses they got, so the neighborhood looks similar, and then they have a little neighborhood. So now they're not in the middle of nowhere by themselves, and then they also sell the house. So let's say they buy the 5 acres for $200,000, and feel free to get your calculator out. They buy the 5 acres for $200,000. Now they subdivide them, right? And they build maybe a house that's worth $250,000 on each of those pieces of property. The other 4 lots, that's $1 million, right? If those houses sell, that's $1 million. So they didn't lose. They're going to have a lien on them until they sell if they work with the builder. They didn't lose. They're gaining money. And they're gaining a little neighborhood that they control and they live in. There's so much game that we could talk about on here, but YouTube's lower level thinking in general, I can't even do that. Let me see. Who else did I miss? Did I miss anybody else? I think that's it. I think I got everybody. I think I got everybody. Uh-oh. Sabrina, we can't even start the whole show over for that. But definitely go back and watch Tech Tuesday. Reach out to Women in Linux. Tamika is in the chat. She'll have a lot of good answers for you, because if you're already a professor, you may be able to just create digital products and do some different things with what you already have. Because again, this whole channel is about you doing a self-assessment of what do you have and what is one of your weaknesses. And then if you want to move over to tech, I mean, again, watch Tech Tuesday videos. It's the same thing over and over. She literally 3 things you need and keep it moving. What about the weather of these places? I mean, again, food abroad, this is here, and I don't want to get rude, but there's something about northern people who live in snowstorm states who are like, but the weather. Hurricanes happen once every 5 years. Like, we've had a 5-year run of like no hurricanes in some places. In Florida and the East Coast, and Florida and North Carolina. Like, very low, very few. And you have days in advance. It's not like a hurricane comes up on Tuesday and it's Wednesday and you look out your window, oh my God, a hurricane. They literally give you days in advance, weeks in advance almost in some places. Hey, there's going to be a tropical storm coming by. Oh, okay. My bad. No problem. Same thing with when they talk about tornadoes that sometimes appear. There's one spot in Texas and up north of Austin, Gerald. They had a tornado hit maybe 25 years ago. And to this day, people are like, well, there was a tornado. It hit Gerald one time. And I mean, to this day, it was probably more like 15 years ago. They still talk about it. Everybody got their insurance check. Everybody good to go. Nobody died. So, I mean, I know people love talking about this, but it don't matter. That's just life. Earthquakes happen all day long, all night long in Alaska. Small, minor fractures all the time. Earthquakes happen in California. Do we have people going, I just can't live there because they got earthquakes? No. But it's something about flooding that people go crazy about. You have to research the side of town it's on. That's all. But thank you for your super chat. I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just trying to keep it real. I just try to, I see the writing on the wall, and that's where I'm moving the way I'm moving. And I keep trying to tell people, I'm like, y'all can keep playing if you want to. I see the writing on the wall. It's really going to be an ownership society or not. Which city you talking about? Say, listen, don't lie on St. Louis. Now, y'all know if you fly into St. Louis and you drive the first 12 miles driving out, you like, what the hell is going on in St. Louis? Hey, it's just for right now, for before I go on vacation. Y'all know what time it is. You know it's gonna be chopped up videos. Okay, so yes, this is also a big industry. They also have a lot of travel jobs for them. I mean, that's you know what they call that? Um, death by despair. They've created a whole new category for. I'm just going to go there. A little negative suicides. They call them death by despair, where somebody drinks himself to death or hurts themselves. And in the Midwest, in the Rust Belt cities, instead of saying all these cities had all these suicides, they kept saying, "Oh no, they had deaths of despair." So the suicide rates and the actual drug overdose rates in the Rust Belt areas are like 10x what you read. They've just reclassified them as something else. Let me see. All right. Okay. Anyway, you guys. I know. That's what I'm telling you. I keep telling you. If you don't pay attention, you own something. You own something. And again, when they talk about flooding, there isn't that area's flooding like that. Most people, when they think of flooding, they think of New Orleans. Houston has two little areas that flood. When they had this thing in 2017, it shocked everybody because it was in areas it usually didn't go in. But again, that's why we call Houston kind of swampy. You know what I mean? It's kind of swampy. So that's all I'm trying to say. Anyways, you guys, listen. 776 people here. Thank you for being here. Hit the like button before you leave. Definitely hit a one in the comments if you've enjoyed the conversation so far. I've got to get ready to go to the airport, and I gotta go like right now. Yes, real estate dropped by 30%. Go check out Houisng in Denver, Colorado, and Boulder, Colorado, and Fort Collins. Go check it out. Just those areas, though. All right, you guys. This is your girl Erica. Later.